What's going down, everybody? This is your boy, Big Drewski, and welcome to another edition of Space Bucket Growing with Drewski.
Welcome to the podcast.
So what's going down, everybody? Oh, man. Had a nice, interesting day today, you guys. So today we are talking defoliation, when to do it, our nutrients that we're getting, and a little bit more today. So first topic, I want to talk about some defoliation. I know it's a controversial thing when it comes to growing cannabis and when to do it, how to do it, what different techniques people have. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with that. There's a lot of controversy when it comes to it because a lot of people believe that your cannabis plant needs as many fan leaves as it can to absorb your light and to absorb nutrients and everything like that and spread out to the plant and to help it grow. A lot of other people do heavy training and they cut off every other fan leaf that they can until the things stick. And you know, they train with LST, they train with topping, and they grow their own cannabis their own way, and they get results. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on with that. If you read from growweedeasy.com in the defoliation section of it, for me, the indoor section applies because I am doing a space bucket, and there's a lot of things that it says. It says when you grow indoors, when your leaves are stacked on top of each other, you should defoliate. When your light source isn't getting down to your lower end of the plant, that's when you should defoliate so light penetrates better. And defoliation also helps the nutrients that you are supplying your plant up to the top, and it puts all those building blocks up to the top of the plant so the rest of it can thrive and that your bud sites can thrive and grow big and go from there. Me, I was kind of afraid of it. I'm going to let y'all know this now. Cutting a plant is kind of scary to me, especially this being my first grow. But I went for it anyways this morning, and when I woke up, checked on the bucket, checked on the grow, made sure everything was going right, I noticed I had a full canopy, straight leaves, like everywhere. This thing was a bush, and no light was getting down to the lower end of the plant. I also noticed that on my plant itself, there were two really, really thin branches that weren't thriving as much as the rest of the plant. I also noticed there was a lot of leaf damage on the bottom end. Nutrient lockout, heat stress. There's a whole lot of stuff going on with my plant. I'm trying to beat this thing up so I actually see what cannabis can do in its grow environment. And some of it's intentional, some of it's not. But my defoliation process went like this. I cut off the two thin branches that weren't really doing nothing. They were skinny. Really thin. Wasn't really growing too much. They were stretching so much that I think nothing was really going to happen with those anyways. And they were really small. The leaves were really small on it. So I clipped those. I also went through and started to get rid of some of the bigger leaves that were on the plant. And I got rid of those. Some of those had some yellow tips. Some of them had yellow spots. But I think it was because of the heat stress that's going on in the bucket right now. So I just went ahead and got rid of them. So there's the main cola, and I think there's 6 more branches that came off of it, stretched up towards the light. Support nodes are on them, and I noticed those branches are on the thicker side. Not as thick as the main cola, but they're on the thicker side. and I kept those. But I did go ahead and take some of the inner leaves off of there, and I left the tops alone with the leaves that are on those branches. I proceeded to water, and I'm leaving her alone for right now. So for right now, she's looking like a whole new plant, looking really good, nice and green. I got some nice thick branch action going on there. Still working with the same 4 CFL lights, the same 2 fans, the exhaust fan and the intake fan. And I noticed that there's a little heat stress action going on because some of those leaves, they're cupping towards each other. They're not drooping down towards the soil, but they're actually folding up into themselves. So what my plan is to take one of the initial buckets that I have off of the first donation that I got, and I'm going to make another spacer. On that spacer, what I'm going to do, instead of taking one of the smaller fans that I have, I'm going to take one of the bigger out of the 6 that I have, and I'm going to install that on that spacer, line it with foil tape, and then install that. Hopefully that pushes in more air that's cooler around the plant and inside the space bucket itself, especially with those 4 CFL lamps going 18 hours. And hopefully that cools down the bucket a little bit, especially with those lights and how the growth is going up towards the lights, especially on those 2 new colas that have developed, which is kind of awesome too. I noticed they were initially like thin branches, and then after the accidental topping happened, I noticed those branches got thick, like the cola almost. Not as thick as that main stalk that's coming up on the plant, but they are pretty thick and they're pretty rigid too. They're really hard to move or bend. So I left those alone, and I noticed those with the new growth are popped up towards that light really, really tough. So it looks like that whole topping thing actually worked out because those 2 colas now provided more bud sites, and that's why I have more sites, 6 versus the 8 that I had if I left those 2 small skinny branches on there. It was just something that I felt kind of had to be done, A, because the light wasn't hitting the bottom of the plant, and B, I wanted more bud sites. So we made it happen. So I'm going to leave her alone for a little bit. I'm waiting for these nutrients to come. And speaking of nutrients, we're going to go ahead and talk Nectar of the Gods. So we wanted to go ahead and get into these nutrients here. Once again, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Rain Man Space Bucket Micro Grows. You can find them on Instagram at Mostly. That's MOSTLYSAFE, the number 8. That's at Mostly Safe 8 on Instagram. Please follow them. Also check out their store on Etsy and check out their builds. And if you noticed, we got the Jabberwocky coming. So they posted up a new build that they did. Some new stealth technology that they're putting in there with the brackets for the fans to eliminate light leakage. And they're going to go from there. So that bucket is coming in September. We also got Space Bucket 3.0 being built sometime this month here. We're just waiting on the UFO to get here, and then we're also waiting on the 50/50 LEDs. So what we're really waiting on, folks, for Bucket 3.0 is the LED light setup to finally get here. That's all we're waiting on. We got everything else. We got the smart pots. We got the foil tape. We got seeds. We're going to get some great soil and perlite, and we're going to make that happen. But talking nutrients, shout out to our sponsor because they helped us get something from Nectar of the Gods. they're going to send us a sample case that comes with a quart of Gaia, Medusa, Zeus, Demeter's, Athena's, and Herculean harvest. And then they're also sending us an 8-ounce bottle of Chaos and Olympus Up. I believe these are our pHs, pH up and pH down, whatever's going to happen on that end. So, and then you've got places like Afghan, and you've got the Hindu Kushes, and you've got those kind of strains which really grow in desert kind of. So, we're planning a little experiment here. I'm going to let y'all know that now. We're going to plan, I don't know if it's going to be a semi-outdoor grow. It's going to be a full outdoor grow. But from what I've seen from other growers in the Las Vegas area, outdoor growing is possible without burning the crap out of your plants. As y'all know, Vegas, as of right now, it's in the triple digits, over 100. On a cool day, it's 90. I'm skeptical of outdoor growing in Vegas. But my partner's doing it with his sativa, and it's thriving. So, you know, I mean, it's all about experimentation and learning. Like I said, this is my first grow, so being skeptical means jumping in, doing the experiment, and making it happen, especially when we got these nutrients coming. I think that's really going to help on the outdoor grow portion of it. So we're going to really try to get into there. But I want to talk about these nutrients a little bit more from Nectar of the Gods. They also sent us a little note with the email they sent us about the package that they're sending. They wanted us to consider that we want some form of pH measuring. And that is important when adding nutrients to water, because then when you add that water to your plant, you can burn it up, because those nutrients will go straight to the roots, and you can burn up your plant in a day, kill your whole crop. We don't want that to happen, so we want to make sure those pHs are right in the 6 range. So we got that pH meter also on the way from eBay, and we want to make sure that's right, because all of these nutrients that Nectar of the Gods is sending us, they use organic acids to stabilize their nutrients, and the results when you mix them up, the pH of the solutions are going to be a little bit too low. And so using a pH meter is going to help us go back up into the 6 range, and we're going to figure out what that does. So shout out to Nectar of the Gods. We will be documenting that whole process. Remember, we're getting Gaia, Medusa, Zeus, Demeter's, Athena, and Herculean harvest, along with Chaos and Olympus Up. So our sponsors really helped us out on that. We want to see what this is going to do, especially with the grow and how nutrients work. I want to really learn about this and the feeding schedule and how that's going to add in. Right now we're in the late veg stage, so I really got to read up on the nutrients and how to use them in that stage right before I flip the flower, because I don't want to go ahead and kill off my first grow doing something stupid and, messing the whole thing up. So we're going to go in from there, but that is on the way. We also got the Jabberwocky on the way. This thing is amazing. If you've checked out Mostly Safe 8's Instagram, this thing is crazy huge. It looks like a beast. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm still amazed that we're getting one, and we're amazed that some of these grows that we're going to be doing are going to be emulating that same formula that they have, but in my own build. I'm going to be doing a little bit, because I'm going to use my CFL bucket as my clone / seedling bucket. And then once we get into veg, I'm going to then switch over, and I'm going to put the Smart Pot inside one of the LED buckets for that stage. Once we get into the veg stage from seedling, I'm going to switch it into LED. And then once I flip in the flower, because I am going to have 2 different powered LEDs, 2 different wattages. So I want to see the difference in how that's going to go. And we're going to go from there with the 135 watt. And then I forgot what the wattage was on the other one. But we're going to put that one, once we go into the flower stage, I'm going to switch over, move the smart pot out of the second bucket and go into the third. That's the plan. Once we hit that third bucket, the plan is to have another one in veg in the second bucket and another seedling going in the CFL. This way I've got a perpetual grow going, and I'll save $400 a month, and we'll save some money. So that's what's going on there, you guys. Hopefully this all comes out right. I just wanted to give y'all a little quick update of what I've learned on doing this whole defoliation process, because it is such a controversial thing in the grow community, and so many people have different things to say about it. To be totally honest with you guys, there's so many people that believe that fan leaves are needed and it helps your plant grow. A lot of other people, especially when I'm watching on YouTube and they're doing their heavy stress training on there and they're binding their plant down to the soil. I saw one, he cut off every other fan leaf except for the ones that were at the tip, or ones that, in his words, got in his way. That was amazing to me. But if you look at his other grows, and he follows this same process on his other grows, he's growing massive amounts of weed. So, it's all about learning. It's all about doing it and getting that knowledge. And, then I can apply that to my other grows, and then hopefully I come out with my own formula. And if y'all are listening, hopefully you are, you guys can follow that and do your own thing. I'm kind of happy for that. So we're going to see what goes on from there, you guys. I want to say thanks for listening, everybody. Once again, this is Space Bucket Growing with Drewski. Follow us on Instagram at whatarewedoing_podcast, because that's the question. What are we doing? You're going to hear from Stacks here in a little bit. We're going to get in on another episode. We got a real special edition planned out for you guys for next month, 4th of July. Recreational weeds coming to Las Vegas in about a month. So, the sales are going to be off the chain. July 1st is coming. July 4th is on the way, and that's going to be the episode. We're going to go live on that episode, July 4th. So please, 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 please tune in. Keep following us on Instagram. Please follow us here on Spreaker. And I'm out, you guys. Follow me on Instagram because I'm always posting. Thanks for the likes, and I'll see y'all in a minute.